Another day, another video. We got day 6. Okay, 2 videos we watched today. First one being all about break a structure, how to identify them, how to use them, and the other one about individuality. So we'll break through both of them right now. First one, he gave 5 very simple rules on how to identify these and how to use them. I have them written down right here, but we can take a look at them on my screen. Perfect. Okay, so we got the 5 rules up here. First one being identifying the trend, uptrend or downtrend. We talked a lot about that yesterday. Um, I'll put some examples on the screen of what the uptrend and downtrends look like. Number 2, if you're in an uptrend, we are watching those recent lows that get made. So once a new low gets made, or vice versa for rule number 3, once a new high gets made, we forget about the past ones and we're looking only at the most recent ones. That's going to help us stay single-minded and not get caught up in all that. Number 4, in order to be a break of structure to the downside, it has to close below the most recent low. So what that means is if you have a candle and the wick of that candle goes below the most recent low, it is not a break of structure. It has to be the body. It has to close below the break of structure or below the most recent low. And then vice versa. If you have a recent high, so you have a low and then a high, in order to be a break of structure, it has to close above the most recent high. And so we can actually find a lot of examples of that on the graph. So let's go look at that right. Okay, real quick before we look at the actual graphs, here's just a picture that'll show us perfectly what we're talking about when we say break a structure. So you see here, if we're in a uptrend, what is the break of structure? Well, it's showing that we have a higher high. So here's our most recent high we're watching. There's going to be low, high, low. Here's the break of structure. Here's the previous high, and here's our new high. All right, so we go again. There's a low, high, low, break of structure here. Here's our previous high, and it's a little bit higher. And we keep going, and on our downtrend, we have our lowest low, our most recent low. We got some highs, lows, highs. Here's our break of structure, our previous low, and our newest low, and so on and so forth. So now we can take a look at some actual examples on the charts. Okay, so we're on the charts and we found a great example. So right here, this is what we're looking at. So we have a very consistent downtrend, lower lows, higher high, or I'm sorry, lower lows and lower highs. And then we get to this green candlestick here, and we notice that this is our high right here. So this is our current high. And then it starts to dip back down. And what do we have here? A new candlestick. And if we zoom in here, we can tell that this new green candlestick has a slightly higher high than our previous. And so this, ladies and gentlemen, is our new high or break of character. And what happens as soon as that break of character comes to life? An uptrend occurs. All right, let me redo that. Let's see. An uptrend occurs. And a pretty steep one at that. Okay, so we're following this downtrend. Down, 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 down. We have this candle. This creates a high. It goes back down. And then this new candlestick right here, it's not just the wick that's higher than this old high, it's the body. The candlestick itself closes higher than the old high. And as soon as that happens, here comes the uptrend, right? And so it was kind of felt like a missing piece to understand this better because In some scenarios, you might think you have a breakup structure when in reality you don't. So I was looking at this one earlier, and you see we have this downtrend, lower low, lower high, and then we get right here. So let's pretend like this is live and we can't see those next candlesticks. We just see this right here. So we see this and we see a green candle. It's going up. All right. And we think, oh my goodness, we have a breakup structure. But the issue is this is not higher by a long shot, is not higher than our previous high. But you know, our brains, we might think, oh my gosh, it's going back up, it's a breakup structure. Here comes an uptrend. Well, what happens? Not an uptrend. It actually goes up for a second, goes back down, and it ends up actually going even further down. So this can trick you into thinking that an uptrend is coming. This can trick you into thinking a breakup structure occurred, but it's not. This is a fake breakup structure. What you're looking for is this. This is a perfect example. It looked almost exactly like our chart that we were looking at earlier. So be wary of that. Make sure that the body of the candlestick is closing higher than your previous high. That is what creates a real breakup structure. So yeah, and I was looking at some of these other ones, kind of like these fake breakup structures that are not real breakup structures. Okay, so what do I mean by individuality? Or better yet, what did he mean when he said individuality? Well, he made a lot of great points. Ones that actually made me feel much better about this process. Say we're following TJR and he's our mentor and we're trying to copy his strategy and it just doesn't make sense in our heads. You know what's going to happen? It makes sense in his head, but it might not make sense in ours. So we don't have to copy him step by step, every minute detail in his strategy. We can take pieces of his strategy, implement what we know and what we feel, and create our own strategy, mix things together, create our individual confidence in what we have going on. And outside of trading, he talked a lot about individuality and what we like, the clothes that we wear, the way that we present ourselves, the confidence that we have in ourselves. That all creates individuality. We don't have to conform to societal ideas. So, such a great concept, again, outside of trading, but just in life. We don't have to conform to someone's ideas, to someone's opinions. And he also mentioned the fact that if we're just getting into trading, like I am, and we're doing it with our friends, don't, do it yourself. Don't compete with them. It's you versus you, Are you going to stay consistent? Are you going to get up every single day? You're going to look at the charts, you're going to study, you're going to create strategies, you're going to test it, or are you not? Because you can't really rely on anyone else other than yourself because only you can control yourself and you can't control other people around you. So a really great concept. That's everything from the videos that I wanted to talk about, but we are staying consistent with the video on YouTube every single day, 3 TikToks every single day, bare minimum. Today, I felt like I was experimenting a little bit more with the types of TikToks that I was making, all kind of still centered around like life improvement and trading, and doing pretty good. We actually had 2 TikToks go over 300 views, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it was good. It was the best that we've done so far. One of them being about 30 likes, which is a new best. Can you believe it? 30 likes. So pretty awesome. A lot of dashing today. Went to church, felt good. So yeah, we're gonna keep the progress going, and that's everything I have for this video. But thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys for day 7.